family stuff. Mr. Castillo will be here later. Nathan Williams
Present.
and President Peterson.
Present.
Superintendent Loftus,
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Aaron Haley,
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Business Services Brad Pulowski,
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Human Resources Miss Ames,
Present.
and the amazing Miss Justice.
Here.
Okie dokie.
Thank you. Next item will be to adopt the agenda. Do we have any changes?
There are no changes to tonight's agenda.
Great. I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda then.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
McCoy second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Ennie.
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, aye.
McCoy aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 5-0. That takes us to public comment on our closed session items.
We do not have any public comments on closed session.
Great, okay. We are going to hop into closed session. It's not going to be super long, but it's not going to be super short. So I can't, sorry to be so vague about that, but we'll try and get through it as fast as we can. We know we've got a pretty good audience here, so we've got to go handle some matters in closed session. We'll be back soon. for your patience. I apologize about that. It was a longer closed session than we anticipated. I appreciate your patience. We'll go ahead and reconvene in open session, and I'll have Clerk McCoy report out on our closed session items.
For our closed session items C1 through C6, there was no reportable action.
Then we need,
One?
We-
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my apologies. C1, which was student discipline, it was a 5-0 vote with discussion, passing.
and I think we're gonna vote in open session on that right now. Sorry, that was my mistake. So we're gonna re-vote on that one right now because it has to be an open session. So on D2, can I have a motion to accept the recommendation?
I'd move to accept the staff recommendation.
Any aye?
We need a second.
Oh, sorry, second. I thought I heard a second, sorry.
I have a motion and a second. Any?
Any aye?
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Anton, I.
Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0.
And he was just being efficient. It was I and I at the same time.
Excellent. Now we're going to do the salute to the flag. So if you guys can stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to go on to presentations, F1, which is why I think so many of you are here, which is exciting. So I'll turn it over to Principal Susank for the presentation of senior athletes.
And I appreciate the patience of those that we're going to have a privilege of introducing tonight. So every year, there are a couple things that happen. We have a number of athletes that choose to continue their playing career at the collegiate level. And just for a little bit of context, pretty consistently over the last 5 years, it has been about 1 in 50 student athletes who are invited to play at the various levels in college. And so this achievement is really significant and certainly worthy of our attention and our appreciation. So with that, what I'm going to invite is the athletes that are here to please stand when I say your name, but I want to recognize all the athletes and put them into the record with your permission. So we have representing indoor volleyball for the boys, Sawyer Stong, going to Emmanuel College in Massachusetts. Playing football for Azusa Pacific will be Ethan Rickard. Playing football for Bethel College is Trey Clark. Playing tennis at Whittier College is John Dawson Blaney. Pole vaulting and doing a variety of things in track and field will be Justin Wilshusen at Cuesta College. Taylor Janou will do stunt at University of Pacific. Brian Arndt will run cross country and track at the Colorado School of Mines. Kimberly Hernandez will be playing soccer at Cuesta College, as will Berceda Guardado. Anea Prado will be playing cheer at William Jessup University, and joining her there on the stunt team is Tegan Borla, who is also here this evening, I believe. Oh, had to go do her deal. Colin Doherty will play indoor volleyball at William Jessup University. Joseph Dilemma will play volleyball at Fullerton College. And lastly, for this year, Amelia Lobo will be, I believe, pole vaulting for George Fox University. So we're super proud of this group of athletes and very much. And certainly a shout out to their coaches who dedicated a lot of time, their parents, of course. And all these athletes were recognized at a signing ceremony that we had on our campus about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to move on to 2 additional awards, both of which are voted upon by our athletic staff, our directors of sport, who come together every year and they talk about who are the community members that have had the greatest impact, positive impact on the sport. And it is my absolute pleasure if I could call, well, I'm going to hang on for that. Same group of coaches come together and they vote on a coach of the year. I'm going to do the other award in a second. And so Cody, if you would come on up here, please. Everyone, this is Cody Wilsusen, and you'll recognize his name. Her younger brother is moving on to do track and field. I mentioned earlier, but Cody is a tremendous coach of 3 different sports at Paso Robles. She does sideline cheer in the fall, stunt cheer in the winter, and then is our head track and field coach. So she has given countless hours over many, many years. And I believe this second year in a row for Coach of the Year. Second year in a row. She was voted on by her peers as Coach of the Year. So it's my pleasure to present to you our Coach of the Year, Cody Wilsusen. And I wanted to save the contributor, the community contributor for last. He had his family here earlier, and some of them unfortunately had to step away. But our sporting teams, but so many of our programs, they run on volunteers. They run on community and the support of people in the community. And again, when our coaches came together, one name came up over and over again. And certainly you see him every Friday football game helping out with the barbecue. He's also a huge contributor in a whole bunch of other aspects of our community. He is the president of the Lions Club here in Paso Robles. And I want to call Calvin Thompson up here. Thank you. So with that, I want to give one last shout out to Amanda Thompson, who absolutely put most of this together and continues to be an unstoppable force in our athletic department. And then we have a number of people that we do want to recognize, and I don't know if they're here tonight. These are other community members that were identified by our coaches, and again, I want to enter their names in the record. And I'm going to invite all of us, once we're done, to step outside. We're going to take some photos and want to put this on social media. But these are our Bearcat supporters. Again, the coaches get together and vote on them, and so I want to thank specifically Cynthia and Ted Fletcher, Ken Hammond, who I know is here, Ken Hammond, Jamie Freitas, Natalie Hermanson, Aaron Colgrove, Ken Cox, Katie Smith, Magoo Cook, Al Bowman, Jennifer Brown, and Charlene Borla. We can't say it often enough, but all I certainly can say is thank you. Thank you so much for everything you've done to contribute to the success of our programs. And if you wouldn't mind joining us outside, Madam Superintendent, Board, thank you so much for your time tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity.
We thank you for everything you do. We thank the student athletes, the coaches, the community volunteers. Thank you guys so much for what you bring to our athletic program. It's second to none, and we can't thank you guys enough. Some board input as well.
I wanted to say thank you to everyone for all of the great work that you do, and specifically to Cody, because like as a track parent, I can tell you she has made communication so much better. And for those who don't know, track is like herding fields of cats, and Cody does an amazing job with that. So Cody, thank you so much.
Awesome. We do a photo, or we do photos outside, Becky? We're good on stuff? It's up to you, yeah. Yeah. Can we have all the winners up here for a photo, and then you guys can do it outside? Let's get everyone who got recognized, please come up here for a photo. It'd be great.
Including the student athletes.
I ask everybody's gonna have to, okay, we're gonna have to get real. Yeah. Jenna, you good? I'm short, sorry. Okay, I think I got it.
Thank you very much. That takes us to G, public comment. To G1, I believe we have one comment on comments from the public that are not on the agenda.
Yes, we have one public comment, and that is Dale Guston.
Good evening.
Hello, Dale.
That was really exciting there. You know, I lived in Lakewood and we had a choice of high schools to go to because Lakewood wasn't built. I chose Long Beach Poly because they had excellent sports programs as well as academics. And as far as the academics go, I'm also proud to be a past president of the Paso Robles Rotary. We gave out over $100,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors in the school district here. I'm very proud of that. Anyway, that's not why I'm speaking, of course. You know, a long time ago, there was a very well-liked weather lady named Karen Gray. Everybody loved her. Well, her husband caught relieving himself on the campus at Cal Poly. And he pled guilty to indecent exposure and thought it would go away. But the press didn't let it go away. And Karen Gray and her husband were so embarrassed, they left town. Here, we got a situation where you're encouraging such conduct. That's horrible. Horrible. I mean, your attorney that's telling you it's okay has never, I doubt if he's ever practiced criminal law. I practiced criminal law for 35 years. I even got an innocent guy, his charges dropped, even though he was on $1 million bail. So I know criminal law. And this pervert exposed himself to biological girls, even though he's a biological male, is indecent exposure. Because they don't like it. You've had a whole bunch of girls come in here and complain about it, and you've ignored it. So how long are you going to just go along and say morality no longer is important in this school district? I hope never.
Don't worry, Dale, she graduated. She's gone. You don't have to worry about her.
Thank you for your public comment. Public comment is now closed. We have no more.
That takes us to G2, CSEA, Chapter 254. Takes us to G3, PRPE. Takes us to G4, any correspondence received?
Yes, I'm happy to report that attached to the agenda is the 25-26 third quarter Williams Act report from San Luis Obispo County Office of Education for Paso Robles High School, Lewis Flamson, and Georgia Brown dual immersion.
Great, thank you very much. Takes us to H1, approve and adopt resolution honoring Juneteenth. Do you want to read this? Otherwise, I'm happy to read it. Okay. I will go ahead and read the resolution. Number 26-29, resolution of the Board of Trustees of Paso Robles JUSD honoring Juneteenth. Whereas news of the end of slavery did not reach the frontier areas of the United States, in particular the state of Texas and any other southwestern states, until months after the conclusion of the Civil War, more than 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. And whereas on June 19th, 1865, the Union soldiers, led by Major Gordon Granger, arrived in Galveston, Texas, with news that the Civil War had ended and the enslaved were free. And whereas African Americans who had been enslaved in the Southwest celebrated June 19th, commonly known as Juneteenth Independence Day, as inspiration and encouragement for future generations. And whereas African Americans from the Southwest have continued the tradition of observing Juneteenth for more than 150 years. And whereas the United States Congress has designated June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day, and Juneteenth is now celebrated in nearly every state in the Union as a special day in observance of recognition of the emancipation of slaves across the United States. And whereas Black history is a part of American history, and as educational leaders, we have a responsibility to educate students throughout the entire year about the contributions of African Americans. And whereas Juneteenth is an opportunity for people in the United States, regardless of race, ethnicity, or background, to learn more about the past, to better understand and reckon with the experiences that have shaped the United States, and to recognize that the observance of the end of slavery is part of history and heritage in the United States. And now there be resolved that the Paso Robles Joint Unified School District designates June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth Day. Approved and adopted today. So I will take a motion to accept that.
Here, second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. Mr. Aney.
Any aye?
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I. Castillo, I.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. That takes us to consent items. I1 through 16. It's a busy one. Anyone to pull?
Can we pull I-15, please?
Absolutely. I-15 has been pulled. You want to make a motion, Kenny, for everything else?
I'll make a motion to approve I-1 through I-14 and I-16.
McCoy, second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Aney.
Any aye?
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I. Castillo, I.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries. Will take us to I-15. Approve the quotation for partitions for the PRHS Boys and Girls Locker Room, shower stalls. That will be Kelly Steinberg. Well, sorry, you got to ask your question, and we'll figure out who's going to answer
Well,
it.
my question is, when we walked through there, I don't remember it just being 3 stalls for the shower. I thought we had been talking about 5+, and so I just wanted to determine, is this it for the shower for the private shower plan? I recall there was the center pole, which was kind of like the wagon wheel with the shower heads coming off, and I thought there were partitions between that, and then there were going to be, I thought, like 4 or 5 privacy shower stalls, not just 3.
There's not enough room. Physically, Ms. Trainee, the one side is currently a wheelchair shower stall. We're just going to be enclosing that with a panel and a door. And then we'll bring a panel up higher from the brick to give some more seclusion. On the other side, we're going to be taking out, there's one shower over there, there's a shower pole with 2 nozzles. We're going to be removing that and making that into 2 separate shower stalls. That's all the room is in that shower area.
We had hoped to get more in there, but also, as a reminder, we did do, was it 4 out in the
Changing stall.
the changing area? So there's another, an additional 4
dressing
there as
stalls.
well.
I remembered that. I just thought we were going to have 5. What's the standard size of the PE class? Like
I
how many
believe
how
at
many
any one
girls?
time,
42 is the max. And when we did the tour, we were looking at how many we could fit. We had an approximate of 3 or 4 on the wall. And then we were unsure how many we could fit in the shower area. We talked about anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on how big the one would need to be for handicap accessibility. And then once they took the pole out, how much room there would be. So it sounds like at this point they've done that, and there is
that's in progress this summer.
right, and you have the ability to put 3 in there, 2 standard and 1 handicap accessible.
Correct.
And that's how much
The-
space
with-
it will allow.
I'm sorry. With the wheelchair side, you have to take the measurements of the wheelchair and make sure that it's able.
I
to get in
understand
and
all
turn
that.
around.
So that's it. There are only gonna be 3 showers for up to potentially, I don't know how many ladies decide they want to take showers after PE at school, but that 3 does not sound like it's gonna do well with
Right,
40,
they're
if
not
you have
actually,
42.
they're not actually using them for showering purposes anymore. They're using them for additional changing areas. So they have the 4 changing areas, the 3 additional changing areas, and then there are also the restroom areas that they're also currently using as private changing areas if they want to as well.
I can add that the round shower stall that has the heads on it actually has shower curtains.
Okay, so how many showers total are there gonna be then?
I
I'm
have to check the
confused.
head count, sir. I don't have that. off
But
the
it's
top
more
of my
than
head.
just 3 showers.
Correct,
Okay.
with the center pole and the shower curtains, correct.
But students really don't even use showers. Like, we used to be made to take showers back in the day. They don't do that anymore. They
Correct.
just
They-
stay stinky all
They
night.
don't,
Well, some
they
of
don't
you-
actually shower during the school day. But they do use the shower area with the shower curtains as a private changing space. Some do. Some also use the restroom areas as a private changing space. Some use one of the 4 changing areas that we've added if they want a private changing space. And now there are the 3 additional ones being added to the outer area in the shower as well.
Is it like state law that we have to provide showers?
I don't know the answer to that. I can find that out for you, though.
Just curious. Just thought about it right now.
Okay, and we already got the 4 privacy
Correct.
dividers. They
those
were
installed
they were
over-
done over spring break,
Correct.
and these will be done by the beginning of the
Start of
school year.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Ennie?
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I. Castillo, I.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Takes us to action items. We'll go into item J1, approve Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services contract. Ms. Loftus.
Yes, so good evening, Board. For your consideration this evening, I bring to you the renewal, the 1-year extension of the contract for Erin Haley, the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. The terms of this contract are listed on the screen before you. As I said, it's a 1-year extension through the 26-27 school year. Ms. Haley is at step G of the salary schedule, which places her at $210,095. The assistant superintendent is entitled to the same health benefits, sick leave, and holidays as other certificated managers. She does have a term life insurance policy, and like other certificated management, has a transportation allowance and a monthly stipend for technology. She works a calendar year of 225 days. Staff recommends approval of the 1-year extension of the employment contract for Ms. Erin Haley.
Thank you. Any questions? Nathan?
I'll make a motion to approve.
McCoy, second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Ennie?
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I. Castillo, I.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. That takes us to item number J2, approve Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources contract. Ms. Loftus.
Thank you. Also for your review and consideration is a 1-year extension of the contract for Shauna Ames, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. She is also on step G of the salary schedule, providing her a salary of $210,095. This 1-year extension takes her through the 26-27 school year. It entitles her to the same health benefits, sick leave, and holidays as other certificated employees and managers. Her contract does include a term life insurance policy, a transportation allowance, and a technology stipend every month. Her worked year is 225 days. Staff does recommend approval of this 1-year extension.
Thank you. Any discussion? Nathan?
I move to approve.
Great.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Ennie?
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I. Castillo, I.
McCoy, no.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 5-1. Next takes us to item J3, approve and adopt resolution order of elections for the school board. Ms. Justice.
Good evening, trustees. Tonight I bring before you a resolution 2631, order of elections for school board. School board elections are governed by Ed Code and Election Code, and resolution 26 29 order of elections will get submitted to SLOC, the County Office of Education, for action. And then the county office then will forward the resolution on to the county clerk recorder's office. Board Bylaw 9220 specifies that each candidate will bear the cost of their statements. The terms set to expire this November are trustee area number 1, trustee area number 2, and trustee area number 4. The declaration for candidacy is July 13th through August 7th. And I have attached here the maps for each of those areas that are up for election. And I also want to point out that on our website, there is a maps by trustee area locator for those who are interested in running. They can enter their address to see if they live within that area. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2631, Order of Elections for School Board.
Question, this is probably a Brad question. When I look at the financial impact, it's 120,000. Is that on top of the bond measure, 120,000?
Correct.
Why? I don't understand that. If they're,
No,
If I may actually speak to that, it's the information that we got from the county clerk recorder's office. It cost approximately $50,000. So for the
So-
board election,
okay.
the bond is separate.
So that's the printing of the ballots, just adding the races on there? I'm just trying to, I know that we have to pay it. I'm just trying to understand what we're paying for.
Yes.
Well, I'll answer in my layman's terms, having gone through a couple of elections, and because I've asked this question over the years, I think they bill you back the staff time of like all the people who work for the clerk recorder's office, the printing of the ballots, all the things that they do. So, but I asked the same question. We're not getting charged 120 and 120. We're getting charged 120 for one of them, and then if you add another election onto it, it's $50,000. So I don't know why. It just other than it's what the clerk recorder has deemed that.
And that's just,
yeah.
that's a flat rate.
I don't know if it's flat rate or
That
not.
is approximate,
Yeah.
depending upon who shows up for the election. That's our pro rata share.
And Becky, just correct me if I'm wrong, but it was based on the number of trustee areas that are open for election.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I'm not shooting the messenger, I promise. I'm just,
Yeah, it's not a small number, but yeah. Any discussion or questions or motion?
Yeah, I move to approve.
Second,
Great, we have a motion and a second. Is there any?
any eye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams State and I. Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Takes us to number 4, approve and adopt a resolution requesting the district's governing board member election to be held November 3rd. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Trustees, I bring before you the resolution to consolidate the elections for the governing board to be held on November 3rd with other elections served in the same day within the same territory. This will help reduce the costs. You may ask, why do we consolidate elections? It is to reduce those expenses by sharing the cost of polling places, ballots, staffing, voting, counting, saving taxpayer money. Without this action, the board member election would run separately and the district would be responsible for the entire costs. And also by doing this, it will increase the voter turnout by consolidating. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 2632, requesting the district's governing board member election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, be consolidated with other elections called for the same day in the same territory.
McCoy moves to approve.
Second.
This is just a procedural situation. Okay.
Correct.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Rainey?
Any eye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams State and I. Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. It takes us to number 5, acceptance of donations. Mr. Pulaski.
Good evening, trustees. 3 donations tonight, just highlighting one. PRHS band backers donating $1,521.06 to the high school choir. Staff recommends acceptance and approval.
McCoy moves to approve.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Well, thank you very much for the folks' donations. Mr. Ennie?
Any eye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams State and I. Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Number 6, approve quotation from National Auto Fleet Group for replacement vehicles. Mr. JP Kamasuza.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Loftus. Staff is coming tonight to look for approval for vehicle quotes from National Auto Fleet and Downtown Ford. Here's the pictures and the vehicles that we are being replaced. 2000 Mercury, 2002 Toyota, 2009 Ford. They are on the vehicle replacement plan. As you see, most of over almost 100,000 miles. Toyota 200,000 miles. The Toyota and the Mercury are part of the maintenance operations transportation support staff, and then the Ford is IT support staff for their technicians. Vehicles that we will looking to purchase, one 2027 Ford Explorer, one 2027 Ford F-250, and then for IT would be two 2027 Ford Maverick trucks. The why, vehicles over 20 years, 365,000 combined miles for the MOT support vehicles. These vehicles are used from all aspects of transporting supplies, custodial equipment, site emergency response for the site staff and for students, call outs to broken vehicles and transportation, broken down buses, and then student behavioral issues that we do on transportation. IT vehicles, the vehicle that was shown currently 17 years old, almost 100,000 miles, but recently developed a powertrain issue that's the cost is gonna go well over the market value of what the vehicle is gonna be worth. Currently, IT has 6 technicians, and they do everything from installs, repairs, equipment replacement, and then service calls to all of our sites. And they were sharing the one vehicle, but they need to, take equipment, tools, and so these 2 vehicles will be great. They'll be hybrids. It'll be something, because currently right now they are using their own vehicles and getting paid mileage. Some of the pluses to this will be warranty. All these vehicles will have a 5-year, 60,000 mile warranty, bumper to bumper, 36,000 3 year. This helps with decrease in maintenance costs, and we'll see an increase in fuel economy. And safety aspects, backup cameras, reverse sensors, airbags, post-collision braking. We feel this aligns with goal 6.2, maintaining a safe and welcoming and well-maintained school environments. And then MOT will be purchased through Fund 15, and IT vehicles will be purchased with IT department funds. And staff recommends approval.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Nathan?
Is one of those replacing Kelly's vehicle? Because that thing needs to be replaced. That's one of them, right?
Yes.
Because I commend you for driving around that thing, but that thing looks sad. So I'm glad to hear that that's being replaced.
Yes.
Mr. Rainey?
Leah.
Oh, sorry, Leah.
Question, this may be silly, but why the Ford Maverick truck and not just another F-250?
Ford Maverick, we look at that as, this is a vehicle, so it is a hybrid.
Okay.
So I think it's a good vehicle for its price, for what they're doing. They can put, a bunch of monitors in the back, maybe take some computers. We're looking at maybe after we receive them, we'll put a camper shell on them, something locking, some tools. They can haul tools, and also a lot of them, they'll go out in groups. There might be 2 or 3 of them, so you have a
Full
5
cab.
Yeah, you have a full cab.
Okay.
You can take a crew with you, go visit a site. We thought it was.
That's great.
On those vehicles, I think they probably 90% of their life, they're going to be doing city driving.
Yeah.
They're never going to hit the freeway.
All right. Thank you, JP.
Did you have something, Kenny?
Yeah, I have a question. So when I look at these, how many Expeditions do we have right now? How many SUV type vehicles do we have?
Expeditions for our field trip fleet, we have currently 6. We do have a Ford Explorer, a 2017 Ford Explorer that's in that trip fleet. Our low top vans for the trip fleet, which is another 8-seater, that is, we have 4 of those. And then we have 12 of the mobility vans with the wheelchair lifts that are used on routes.
Okay, and so those are all dedicated for transportation for what?
Athletics. So athletics.
Even
or
the
field trips.
Expeditions?
Yeah. So we'll have trips. I mean, there'll be weekends when all 10 are out, all 11. We do have a couple minivans, and then we're also renting, 5 or 6 Enterprise SUVs. It gets very busy.
And which Is it IT that has to use their personal vehicles right now?
Correct.
Have you all ever, you pay them mileage and gas, I'm assuming, right? Like wear and tear on the vehicle and gas?
Yeah, I think it's the,
We would pay, an employee that's using their personal vehicle would be paid the IRS mileage reimbursement. Yeah.
The reason I ask is it's becoming a weekly event for me to see like an expedition going through Starbucks or being parked in front of the restaurant. I'm curious as to, who's driving these things and why they're out and about. They have to check them out from you all, right? They're not assigned at campuses, are they?
no. There's very few that are with the Title I minivans, but there's about 2 or 3 minivans that are assigned to a site. But expeditions, it's almost a daily, that fleet that they're going with sports. A lot of sports are leaving sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning, all the way to they're picking them up at 3 o'clock, depending on the sport and where they're traveling to.
Yeah, this is usually late morning, lunchtime when I'm seeing these things, when I do my run to Lowe's. But the question I was going to ask is, have we ever dollar cost averaged out how much it costs us to just reimburse the employees vice buying a vehicle?
No, we have not.
Because I think it's probably more cost effective just to let people reimburse for what we can. There's going to be some, like obviously if we have to transport tools around or big things around, I get that. But if it's just we want to have a vehicle for any to go from IT over to a school, I'm not really seeing the cost benefit of that.
I
of
think
having the extra vehicle.
they will continue to reimburse staff for that type of travel, but typically IT that needs the vehicle, they have equipment that they're taking back and forth. And recently we had one of our IT staff transporting some pretty heavy equipment, and they don't want to risk damaging their own personal vehicle. And we also need it to be at the appropriate height when they're taking heavy equipment, right? So that it's not way down low.
No,
right?
and
So
I get all that.
of the different
I'm
things.
just,
But they don't
I
have
guess
a
my
one-for-one.
question is, so there's, at those times, there's no vehicle. We're going to make sure IT has a dedicated vehicle, and does culinary have a dedicated vehicle, or? That's the number? I don't know what that is.
I just,
Okay.
so it sounds like the answer is culinary does have a vehicle that's, they
and
have
that's-
4 vehicles because they're transporting food
Right.
and things all over the district. But I think we have staff in-house that are servicing hundreds of computers for thousands of staff and students. And so, yes, they are getting reimbursed for mileage when it's just taking a trip to a school to do something that they can do. But when it's requiring them to take equipment and tools, they're also, some of that stuff is stored in some of these vehicles. And they need a way of transporting all of that so that they are all out being used legitimately.
Okay, thanks. I don't have any other questions.
I just want, when I was talking, I had my meeting, I'm sorry, did I, Jim?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Jen brought up a great point that the reason why we see, and confirm please for me, reason why we see, little batches at a time of purchases is because you're able to jump in on purchase orders with other companies, which is why sometimes you come in here, you have 3, 4 at a time, but you're consistently, we see this popping up over and over again. So I thought that was such a great educational piece for me as a reminder of just, that these are great deals at this, but you're only able to get so many at a time, which is why we often see this coming back too.
Correct.
Okay.
You'll see with Sourcewell, so when we do Sourcewell buying, it's not like I'm just going to the dealership and they just have them there. It's,
Right.
they're built to order through the government contract, so they don't just leave it open 12 months a year. So they're gonna leave it, they'll close it, and even on certain, and they're not the same either. So maybe from the month of, let's say, March to, October, it's just the Maverick. And then right now the F-250s are going. But maybe 2 months ago, it was just the dually F-250s, so there's certain pockets and depending on the plant, so.
So
that's
it'll
what we
change
kinda-
which ones you buy for which department too as well. Interesting.
If I can just add one thing, they also have, if you look through, I don't know where it is on the webpage, but you have a plan, a replacement plan that is executed and I don't know where it is, but you're on your schedule. I'm not challenging that. I'm looking at the total number of vehicles, and I want to ensure that we have effective and efficient use of the fleet, and we're not just adding stuff because it was already on schedule. So,
Jim?
where is that? That's listed under your web page where you have the replacement plan?
It's actually on this slideshow.
Oh, okay.
I have it linked up on here.
Jim?
I didn't have it in mind.
On the,
It's a link, Mr. Henney.
yeah, sorry.
The electronic version.
On the second slide below the vehicles that we're replacing.
So JP, you always do a great job bringing us vehicles. I was thinking, in the debate of mileage versus district vehicles, for me, I trust JP a lot more than, most people when it comes to making sure that we have safely maintained vehicles. And every time someone's driving on the road, it creates a liability for the district. The only thing that I would say, and this is just, good-natured ribbing, it's too bad they have to be Fords and not Chevys. I did want to ask, and I appreciate Nathan's comment about how you're getting us the best deals. It says the national, so the paperwork is through the National Auto Fleet Group. Do we go through Paso Ford at all? Is there any connection with Paso Ford? Okay.
No, it's not connected with them. They're a dealership out of Watsonville. But not too many dealers like to do it, and that's what like downtown Ford. There's probably 5 of them that we deal with California. They have the state bidding, and downtown Ford, some of them specialize in certain ones, and they can keep it open, and then some don't. So, long story short, no, yeah, we've tried to go through Ford, Paso local, but it's just something not in their wheelhouse.
No, I appreciate that. I just, you always want to ask, because if we can support local businesses, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you always, like I said, you always do a great job bringing us stuff. And, I would move approval of staff's recommendation on this.
I'll second that.
Great.
One
Motion-
last
oh,
question.
go ahead.
When we auction these off, we go through a government auction site, or we do it individually or
Correct.
locally?
They're going to be individually auctioned off on govdeals.org
Okay.
or .com. Yeah.
Mr. Rainey?
Any aye?
Cook and I.
Williams, Nathan, aye.
In proper order, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. It gets us to number 7, which is approve a quote for a purchase of 2 compost accelerators. It's Jesse Wesh.
Okay, good evening, board. Okay, I'm here to, wait, let me go back. I'm here to approve the quote for purchase of 2 compost accelerators. So Senate Bill 1383 requires all local education agencies, which are K through 12 public schools, to implement mandatory organic waste recycling and edible food recovery programs. School districts are the biggest targets of this bill because they are the biggest source of waste, especially when we serve 1.2 million meals per year. Food Services has an edible food recovery program. We work with SLO County Food Bank and ECHO for having a source for food donations. We have shared tables at elementary school sites where students can put certain items in a bin that they do not want, and then others can pick up those items if they're still hungry. The purpose of this law is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to reduce paper waste in landfills. This also applies to residential and commercial sources. As I said, the last time I was here, the ultimate goal of the Food Service Department, it was to have reusable trays one day. So that's in the future. So students can eat off and reduce the amount of waste going into our garbage cans. And a simple solution in the meantime to divert green waste out of our landfill is to purchase this compost accelerator. So what is a compost accelerator? The compost accelerator is to help us stay in compliance with California 1383 bill by diverting up to 90% of food waste. We will simply take the food scraps left over from our kitchen and the students' unfinished lunches, put into the compost accelerator, press a button, and then the waste cooks at a low temperature for about 12 hours. And then voila, you get beautiful, dehydrated, high nitrogen feedstock that is created to create either a finished compost in gardens, and it can also be used as a highly valuable feed source for animals. It has a high crude protein of 20% to 30%. Okay, so, sorry, I mixed up my slides, but anyways. Funding source, Fund 13, which is the Food Service and Child Nutrition Funds. It is approved on the California Department of Education School Nutrition Capital Expenditures List. The awarded company is Food Service Sustainability Solutions that makes these. It is $85,387.50. This includes two 250-pound units. This will be used at Food Services main kitchen to test out. We have the space, we have the green waste because we're constantly cutting fruits and vegetables. And then it also will be at Glen Speck Elementary because it has an easy, accessible driveway to drop off the food particles from other sites. And also they just have the space in their kitchen compared to other kitchens. And this also includes the delivery, installation, and startup and training of the units. Staff recommends approval for purchasing the compost accelerator.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Leo?
So I don't think you covered it, and maybe you did, maybe I missed it, but I'm sure you'll get questions from other people asking questions that are already on the slide too. Where does it go when it's ready to go?
Ooh, we could put it in our school gardens.
Say again?
We could put it in our school gardens.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so you have to mix it with some green waste, like some grass clippings, some leaves, because it would burn the roots of the plants because it's high in nitrogen.
Yeah.
But you'd mix it and then you can
And
use it
could
in the
our
gardens.
ag students benefit from this as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. That's all I had.
So Jesse, you always bring us the coolest technology. No offense, Scott, but yeah, I mean, when I first saw the thing, I was like, compost accelerator, how fast did they go? So thanks for answering that question in your presentation. Because I'd heard of the Stanford Linear Accelerator and of course the flux capacitor, but this is a compost accelerator is totally new on me. So I like it.
You're welcome.
Rennie?
I'm going to vote no on this because I do compost. Why aren't you looking at like vermiculture or something like that?
We do
This is
have
pretty
that.
pretty expensive for a composter.
It is. Okay, so vermiculture we currently do at all of our school sites, and that is a great way to educate our students on what vermiculture is and taking our food scraps and putting it in the bin. Absolutely, totally great. At culinary, we don't have the capacity to do that, but we do have a lot of food waste. So, and food scraps, not waste.
Well, why don't you have the capacity to do it?
Why don't we?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a spot for it, and also because we are a main kitchen, we have to have we have to get rid of pests. So having a spot for that on site at our main kitchen would just not be a good idea because we would be concerned of attracting any sort of pests.
Joel?
So, yeah, did that answer your question?
You did. I mean, there are other companies. I mean, I researched this. I mean, it's a cool idea. I just think it's, you're getting a Ferrari, and I don't think we need a
like
Ferrari right
Ferraris.
now. But there are a couple of other companies that I looked up. One, Sustainable Agriculture Technologies, and they have a large vermiculture bin specifically designed to keep out pests and stuff like that. It's only $6,000, and it takes about, the only big difference is you said it takes 12 hours to cook it down, which is impressive. But again, it's a Ferrari, which I don't think we need. This takes about 3 to 4 weeks in order to get your castings and.
Yeah, so what I would be concerned about is having a paid person to take care of that versus this unit, you load it, you press it, you have it in a bucket, it's ready to be moved on. So having somebody babysit the vermiculture, so to speak, from food services, that is not allowable cost. That would have to be from a different department. And so this is something that has been approved by the CDE on the approved expenditures list, because it's literally an easy button for food service employees.
Okay.
Just like,
Nathan?
Yeah, I'm gonna excitedly make a motion to approve this. Ferrari or not, you continue to show sound decision-making with your choices, your budget, and I'm excited to see culinary grow in this capacity and continue to go the way that it is going. So for that reason, I make a motion to approve.
McCoy second.
Leo?
I'm also going to echo what Nathan said, because I just want some clarity, and maybe not everyone knows that up here. But when it comes down to Fund 13, doesn't matter if we vote in favor, it still can be purchased and approved because she's out of a completely different funding code. Is that how I'm understanding that? It's more for oversight for our purposes?
We still need approval if it's over a certain amount, and this
Okay.
one is over a certain amount. When it comes to Fund 13, the funds can't be used for anything else. And we
Got it.
cannot maintain a certain level of funds because you're not supposed to profit off of food services. So once you get to a certain amount, you need to
Then-
be spending the money on something,
Got
right?
it.
So
Well, I'm looking forward to the Ferrari.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any?
Any no?
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, yes.
Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Pearson, aye. Motion carries 5-1. Thank you very much, Jesse. Number 8, here we are already to the approve the budget overview and LCAP plan. Ms. Kittleson.
Hello.
Hello.
So good evening. Previously, I shared the draft LCAP. Tonight, I'm going to share the revised LCAP and seek your approval. As you know, the LCAP is a 3-year plan, highlighting how we're going to spend state's money in service mostly to students who are English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and foster youth. And this coming LCAP, the 26-27 LCAP, is the 3rd year of the 3-year plan. We, throughout the year, engaged educational partners in the development of the plan, seeking input from various educational partners and using that input to inform many of our decisions. You will see in the LCAP that for the areas that we were read on the 2023 dashboard, we are obligated to continue mentioning how we're going to serve students that were in the red on the 23 dashboard. So you will see that throughout the LCAP. You should have in front of you also the executive summary, which is a more readable version of the LCAP. Do you have access to both the LCAP and the executive summary in front of you? Great. And as you know, the LCAP talks, obviously, the LCFF funds include the base grants and then, of course, supplemental and concentration grants. The supplemental and concentration grants are intended to serve our most vulnerable students, socioeconomically disadvantaged, foster youth, and English learners, for example. And we are funded in accordance to our unduplicated count. Before you on this slide, you can see the unduplicated counts from this year. Every single school is above 55%, and we have an average of about 72% of unduplicated students in the district. This is how the supplemental and concentration funds have increased over the years in relation to our unduplicated counts. This is our budget summary. And of course, the LCAP is comprised of 5 goals, well, 6 goals last year, 5 this coming year. The first goal, of course, is that every student be connected to school and engaged in learning. And that includes social emotional support, trauma-informed practices, parent connectedness and engagement, community school support, etc. Oh, and it also includes maintenance of school facilities. And multi-tiered systems of support, for example, PBIS, Positive Behavioral Intervention and Support, positive school culture and climate, and even PE aids, which help students stay engaged. Goal 2 is around college and career readiness, and the achievement of our secondary students are called out in that portion of the LCAP. We have AVID, we have support for secondary math, we have CTE, of course, TRIPS and exploration, support for our dually identified students who are both English learners and special ed students, We have an incredible TOSA who serves both of those populations quite effectively. And of course, our IT devices to ensure that we're in compliance and that all students have equal access. There's equity in that regard. Goal 3 is about English learners making regular progress. And the LCAP funds, of course, ELD teachers, professional development, ELD coordination through Gabby Clark, parent engagement, for example, our PK program, and bilingual teacher stipends, among other funded aspects. Goal 4 is about achievement among students in grades TK to 6. We promise that everyone's going to make progress in English language arts, math, and science. So we have reading intervention teachers and paraeducators funded under this goal. We have extended library hours to increase access. We have obviously our assessment and data support through, for example, iReady, which is our only test that we give students that's both norm and criterion referenced, which is really important. And PD, and of course, technology for for students in TK to 6. And then goal 5 is funded through equity multiplier funds, and that is for Liberty. Their instability rate met the threshold to qualify, so next year they get about $311,000, plus they have carryover. And that helps them fund a mental health therapist, parent connectivity, tutoring, and also pathway development, for example, public safety. This is an overview of our carryover funded projects that are still in process. And this is LREBG money that is to be spent through 2028. And we show these to show that we have money so some people would think, oh no, you guys have so much money. Why are you making cuts? And it's like, well, because some of the money is intended to be one-time funds or it's carryover funds that have to be spent on something that is one time and not something that's sustained over time that would pay for a staff, for example. And then these are changes from since last time we met. These are things that we revised because, as you know, we have a public hearing with public comment. We have input from various stakeholders or educational partners, or we notice something that we need to update. So one good thing to celebrate is we've reclassified an additional 78 students, bringing our total to 154 students, and our yearly classification rate is now 12.3%. So that's very exciting because, as you know, the more students we reclassify, the more students have access to electives and CTE, dual enrollment, advanced placement, etc. And a correction is, Kelly corrected me. I said before that 100% of our schools were in good repair. There was one school that fell below the 90% threshold, and that was Liberty in the upper 80s. But our fit average is still 94.14%. And since last time, we also have funded secured subs. So now we have a substitute at every elementary site to help support the very important PLC work. We've also funded an additional education specialist to support dually identified students who are our most vulnerable students, and increased funds for our wellness room, and also Paso Robles High School Library to create study carrels in support of student collaboration so you could work in small groups and not disturb others. And this is just a reminder that newly added non-staff expenditures are funded with one-time carryover funds. And this is an action item, and staff recommends your approval.
Thank you for the presentation.
And I think the 234-page document is in front of you, and I will take questions. And if it's too difficult, I will pass that question along to Erin Haley and or Sherry Castellano. They're really smart.
Thanks for the executive summary, which we appreciate.
You're welcome. And you know who helped make that is Claude.
There you go. That's a great use of Claude, actually. Any questions? Kenny?
I have a comment. I'm going to bring up a discussion I had with Mrs. Loftus yesterday. The concern that I have, and it was on action item 1.13. The title is Cultural Sensitivity, Inclusion, and Acceptance. And my concern is that's basically DEI by a new name, but my understanding reading through this, Mrs. Loftus says we can't change this wording. That's,
Yeah, well, this is the third year of a 3-year plan. So whatever we settled upon 3 years ago is what remains. Next year, when you create a new plan, then there are more opportunities to make any changes.
so the $50,000 that's been allocated, that's year over year? So the first 2 years so is it 50,000 over 3 years or 150,000 over the whole plan?
It's 50,000 for this coming year.
Okay, that's what I
26,
thought. So it's
27.
going to be 150,000 total.
Well, that's assuming that it's fully expended.
It was $50,000, and it was, I wouldn't refer to it as DEI. This is an action item that was really written after much discussion about the culture and climate at our high school and our junior high, and feeling that we really needed to do a better job educating students as well
No,
as
I
professional
remember all
development
this
for
and-
staff. So that's what it
yeah.
was for. And we hired a consultant who came in this year, Dr. Cofield, and she also spoke to staff and students last year.
And
So not 100, we didn't spend 150,000 on this action item. But we did do events around inclusion, including our Juneteenth celebration.
And wasn't that part of like our request about the N-word and having all of those parents and community members coming and talking to us about the proper language to use when interacting with students? So, right?
Absolutely. And I think, and it's one piece of a puzzle, it's of a larger puzzle, where as a district, we're obligated to really ensure that we meet the needs of all our students. And as the data person, I can tell you that our English learners and our students with disabilities, especially our English learners, have a really high F rate in some classes, where some teachers are failing 75, 80% of their students that are English learners. And I would consider that to be related insofar as what are we doing to really make our classes welcoming? What are we doing to make the material comprehensible? And what are we doing to really bridge those language gaps to help students become successful so they can be reclassified? I mean, it's all connected. And about 2/3 of our students are Latino, and that's a significant amount of students, and we need to make sure we're doing everything we can to meet their needs. At the risk of sounding like I'm pontificating.
Yeah, and I understand all that. My concern is really that it's been brought to my attention, and I have to agree with the concern that this is potentially a violation of the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which basically says if you're taking federal funds, you can't use those funds it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin.
Right.
So
These are
when-
state dollars.
This is state funds, and it's specifically
No,
for.
I understand that. I understand that. But if you're using state funds in a way that the federal government thinks is a violation, you may lose your federal funds. So that's my concern. So where it goes on, it says prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin in any program or activity that receives federal financial assistance. So we get like $6.2 million, I think, in our budget from the feds. So the question I'm asking and the concern I have is we have to show that this is not race-based, but in the writing, we specifically say it's, to benefit African Americans and English learners, Hispanic.
Well,
And so that's why if we're stuck with this language, we at least need to be able to say it's not race-specific.
I would say that that's something to be brought up with the legislature of California, because.
Well, I understand that too.
You know what I mean?
But-
I mean, the LCAP requires that we specifically call out how we're going to serve English learners, for example, students who are historically marginalized. And that is what the supplemental and concentration grants are for. And I think that if there's any sort of creative tension between the state and the federal government in that regard, then that's something that needs to be brought up at the state legislature level. Locally, we're obligated to serve all of our students in the ways that the state outlines.
And then I would just add that in order to do this work, the board did charge staff with developing an inclusive excellence plan, which the board did have a presentation on and approve last year.
President Joel,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, please.
McCoy, second.
Any further discussions or questions? Mr. Annie?
Any no.
Cogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, aye.
Thank you, and yes.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. 5-1 passes. Thank you very much.
Super duper,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
That takes us to number 9, which is approve and adopt a 26-27 budget.
Good evening,
Hello.
Sherry Castellanos, Director of Fiscal, bringing back to you the 26-27 budget, which was presented to you at the last meeting for our public hearing and information item. We did mention at the last meeting that we would bring back information on the 10% reserve cap and anything over that for excess reserves. And then we've also made some changes, just as it was outlined in the LCAP presentation. They added some costs to the LCAP, and those are included in the budget. So the budget process required by Education Code, we are to hold a public hearing, which we did, and this is the subsequent meeting to adopt the budget. If the state does make changes, as we've mentioned, that we will bring back the 45-day revise to update the board with an information item. In our budget process, it is aligned with our strategic plan and strategic goals. We've met with departments and administrators to include them in our budget development. The state budget continues to invest strongly in early education and has added additional dollars in special ed. Again, the state revenues, the projections for the May revise or the January budget has been outpaced by the May revise, and we see that the big three taxes are showing strong revenues. Our budget assumptions for our LCF funding, we use the FCMAT LCFF calculator. And our federal and state dollars, we typically use 0% unless the STEP funding is eligible for the statutory COLA, or we have known increases or even decreases. Local funds, we budget for what we know, or we budget as we receive them. We use school services dartboard for our projections for our expenditures and our revenues. And for our expenditures, we included negotiated increases and other known costs. Enrollment, the district has been declining in enrollment, and the board has been presented with this information several times. The district has closely monitored the enrollment and the staffing allocations that go along with that. This here we show that the LCFF funding includes the 4.31% COLA. We have adjusted our federal and state revenues to only include the current year allocations unless we are required to include a carryover. And we've also included the increase to the special ed funding. As in our expenditures, as I mentioned, there is the change due to including additional salary and benefit cost and also capital cost. These are reflected here. Again, this is just a representation of our expenditures by percentage, and what taking out the capital outlay shows that our district salary and benefit expenditures are aligned with a healthy district at 81%. This is the updated unrestricted budget. Again, it is still balanced even though we've added additional cost. The additional costs are coming out of carryover funds, which means we will need to increase our beginning balances. You can see there that the capital outlay, while we've increased it, is still more than our deficit, which again goes back to a balanced budget, meaning our operational costs are actually less than our revenues. Our multi-year assumptions, we follow again the school services dartboard, and it's showing PERS increases and decreases. We include step and column costs, and we project a 70% unduplicated count. So Board Policy 3100 and GASB 54 allows for a board to commit funds, which this board has done by resolution, committing funds to be transferred into Fund 14 or Fund 40 for maintenance. The purpose of bringing this up is the committed funds are not part of the reserve calculation. They are excluded. So when the reserve cap comes into effect, we take those dollars, take them out, and then show what is left, which actually is our reserve for economic uncertainties.
So where do you show that then? Because it's sitting somewhere.
My next slide will help.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other thing too is typically we will bring those resolutions back at unaudited actuals because we know at that time what is actually the excess over. So this spreadsheet shows you what we normally look at, but I separated out what would be considered estimated committed funds. So we have our revenues, expenditures, other financing, and then shows our ending balance. Supplemental and concentration grant funds, we have not historically committed, but should be committed because they are said to be meant for those programs, and we have to carry them over into the plans. The board committed to the PARS retirement, and while we haven't by resolution committed the funds, the board is committed to setting aside the money to make the payment over the 5 years that it takes to pay it down. And then if you look at just 25, 26, there isn't anything above those two amounts because we show that our reserve for economic uncertainties is 9.2%, so there isn't an excess over 10%. But moving into the out years, we show that we take away the supplemental and concentration grant because those dollars are included in the amount that is budgeted, and we don't know yet if there's going to be carryover. And the excess over 10% is reflected in that third line down, outlined as major maintenance, et cetera, because that's what the board has historically done. And you can see how much each year that amount would be in excess over the 10%.
Can I ask you to explain that again? That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Sorry. So why are you taking out the supplemental and concentration grants in the out years?
Because the money is in a carryover amount right now, so anything left at the end of the year needs to be set aside. When we built the 26-27 budget, we're including those dollars and expecting to spend it all down, so we are not expecting to have carryover right now. But as we go through the year and we start adjusting, then that would change. So as of right now in 25-26, in our 26-27 budget is $4.8 million of the LCAP.
But it's not going to be spent.
It's planned to be spent.
It's planned to be spent, okay.
Yes.
It's,
So the numbers that make up our 10% would be the reserve for economic uncertainties, the 3%, budget stabilization, and then we also hold not a large amount of money in Fund 17, and Fund 17 is unrestricted basically, and so that is considered part of the calculation.
remind me what Fund 17 is?
It's special reserve, and that's it, just called special
But
reserve.
what does it go toward?
It doesn't go towards anything unless the board determines to bring it back and spend it.
Is that the one that we voted on like a few years ago to like carry over in there? It's just a reserve fund that why do we have a second reserve fund?
The Fund 17 has actually been in place since I've been here. It was already set in place. We haven't added or taken anything away from it. It's just accrued interest during that time. So it was about $500,000 when I got here. Now it's about 580.
It's 600.
600.
Oh, 680.
Yeah, 600.
Okay.
666.
And it can be used to represent your reserves.
Okay, well, I would recommend not now, but at some point we look at that. That doesn't make much sense to leave it there. Right? I mean,
It's counted as our reserve. It's just sitting in a different fund. So it can't be spent without board authorization. I think at one point prior to me being here, it was felt that we're just going to set a little bit aside that can't be spent unless the board authorizes it.
I don't disagree with that, but yeah, okay. I'll carry on.
And it could have been prior to the change with GASB 54, which
Yeah, I think
eliminated.
It must have been, yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think the question, I have a similar question on the reserve. Is our goal really to maintain about a 10% reserve? That seems kind of high.
Board policy states that.
That's the
It is the
goal?
lesser of the two, or the greater of the two, I apologize.
Okay.
So
I
it
guess
says
I
very
remember
clear.
that now. That was your, Mrs. Loftus, you did that, right? Was that before? Okay.
That was prior to me. That's recommended language, but actually the recommendation is a little bit higher.
17.
17%. That,
So FICMAT, Department of Finance, even state legislature recommends 17%.
Okay. I guess we were talking about that was something that was discussed at one of the CSBA things where they talked about a policy that should be board policy. Okay.
And you do have it. It's in BP 3100.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions on this slide?
Oh, Jim, sorry, Nathan, sorry.
Go ahead. That's actually,
Oh,
next
went
one.
wrong
yeah, I
way,
knew that
sorry.
was coming up, so I was gonna.
Do you have one in general? Nope, okay.
Okay. So these are our other funds. There's no changes with the other funds as presented previously. And I wanted to first. So as pursuant to your board policy, staff recommends approval for the budget, which is aligned and reflects district visions and goals, is developed accordance with criteria standards, is the budget includes increased and improved services, and is able to meet its current and subsequent year obligations.
Thank you very much.
Can I make a
Nathan?
motion? Oh,
Can-
motion to approve.
Second.
A discussion and questions. Jim?
This is really a nomenclature question, but the monies for Prop 55 and Prop 30, was it set forth in state regulation that we call it the Educational Protection Account?
Yes.
So it's the state legislature that's like, hey, we'll throw another meaning for the acronym EPA at you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Kind of like APs and so on.
That's all.
I have a question on slide 7. If you can go back to the COLAs.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. I know that you've explained this before, but so the COLA was lower during the January,
Correct.
and then at the revise, it's now it's 2.87.
For statutory, yes.
And then what's remind me of the super COLA?
The super COLA is 1.4%, creating a 4.31 on LCFF only.
Okay. CFF only.
LCFF,
So,
local control,
and then
sorry.
you
funding
budgeted
formula.
it differently this year than you did last year. So explain that to me again.
You're going to help me on that. I don't
no, she
recall.
didn't budget differently. She included the super
Right.
COLA in her
And
budget.
in years past, we have not done that. So
In years past, we haven't, so we haven't always had there's only been one other super COLA, right? But when she brought you the initial budget, she was budgeting based on what we thought COLA was going to be. And then the governor put forth his recommendations, and we did not believe she was going to change the budget for 26, 27 based on those recommendations because it was a really quick turnaround. We did. Sherry did. She worked through the weekend to update all of the budget projections based on what the governor was recommending.
And School Services of California also stated that these projections were very non-risk to include in your budget.
that was my question: is it a risk to use the dartboard number of that with the super COLA? Because it seems risky to me, I guess, but because it seems like a high number. But
Well, so anytime we get the dartboard, we're always using those projections, almost always. There's been a few times.
do
that-
most school districts use the dartboard for
Yes.
budgeting? Okay,
Mhm.
great. Kenny?
Back to the Super COLA, I keep getting these emails from CSBA about Prop 98, and I forgot how much has been being pulled out. Is there concern about that affecting funding at all for the schools? I want to say it was like $5 billion they were looking at pulling out of Prop 98 dollars and using it for other things with the promise of repaying it.
So the state has been using one-time funding to pay back schools. And I don't have any knowledge on what you're referring to. I haven't heard this, but if I were going to say they were going to take back money, it would be in the one-time funding versus a COLA.
Sherry, if you could go back a couple of slides where you have the last 3 years of
They go in the
the
right
big three,
direction?
that slide. So what happens is they project and give us money based on projections, and then the actuals are higher. So when the emails you're getting from CSBA are it's about the catch-up money, because we project a certain amount, so we give you money based on projections, but then the actuals come in higher, and the governor has been holding the difference, right? Those are the Prop 98 funds that we keep getting as a one-time makeup money, and he still hasn't released those to school districts yet. And that's what CSBA is advocating for. Quit holding on to those funds. School districts actually depend on them. And many school districts have made staffing reductions going into 26, 27 because we did not get those extra funds and cannot anticipate when we will get them or if we will get them.
And that was for this past year,
It's
the
been-
past fiscal year as well.
Yes.
And they're projecting it for this fiscal year.
Right.
Basically, what's happening is we're getting underfunded and they're making it up with one-time money, which is a really great tactic, because if you don't put it in the ongoing, then it's one time and it will actually help the state's budget.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Great. Ms. Rainey?
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I.
Castillo, aye.
Aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I think you're still up there for number 10, I believe.
Yes.
Approve Resolution 26-30 on Education Protection Account.
Yes, so EPA, Education Protection Account, let me get there, I apologize, is Proposition 30 originally, and then Proposition 55, which was put into law to provide school districts money. In the law, it states that governing boards need to do a determination of how the funds are going to be spent, and then further, they need, at a public meeting, and then further, they need to post them on their website. So this is somewhat procedural, as we're required to do it. It's done annually, and I'm kind of flying through my slides, sorry. And the amount that the district projects for education protection account for this upcoming year is $1.1 million. We are showing that the funds will be spent on certificated salaries. The law states that it cannot be spent on administrative salaries. We are not projecting that. And staff recommends approval.
I don't ever recall doing this. This is a new thing? Have we always done this?
We did it last year.
Okay. Well, there you go. Never
Move
mind.
approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Annie?
Any aye.
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, I.
Castillo, aye.
Peterson, aye. That motion carries. Thank you so much for your presentations. Appreciate it. That takes us to number 11 on the action items, which is approved change order from the Enviroplex Georgia Brown Dual Immersion Phase 3. Mr. Pulaski.
Trustees, we'll go over a little bit of just a review on the project at Georgia Brown. So back in March last year, 25, we recommended, we went through various options to consider the improvements that needed to be done at Georgia Brown. We presented, I believe it was 6 options, recommended 1, but we moved forward with option 6. So in June, we brought forward the purchase of 6 modular classrooms. So that was 3 for kinder and 3 for TK. At that meeting, we also reminded the board that we had a really short window to try and get all of this, get this project done before this school year. And so we moved forward with the purchase of those buildings, specifically at almost $2.3 million. And just a reminder, the purchase of the buildings versus the installation and construction of the slab, all the site work, those are 2 separate contracts. So this change order is specifically for the buildings that we purchased. So the standard classroom, it provides obviously the functional baseline, but needed to be customized because these are kinder and TK spaces. So during the design process, we identified some of those modifications. And so those are cabinets and countertops that needed to be added to each of the classrooms, sinks and water fountain bubblers, hot water heaters for tepid water, some windows in the top quarter of the doors, and then also upgrade to the district standard carpeting. So the cost of this change order is $87,018. As you may know, we are on track. I was there this morning and there's actually 6 triple wide buildings. So each building has 3 sections. So 18 sections that are coming in. And when I was there this morning, I believe 14 of those sections were in place. So the rest may have been, should have been delivered today or maybe tomorrow and installed. So we are on track with that. And if you look at our total budget here, when we brought this to you, we estimated the total cost of this project at $6.4 million. So our total commitments to date at this point, including this change order, is almost $5.4 million. So we have about $1 million remaining in budget on this project. So staff recommends approval of this change order.
Is that remaining 1 million encumbered, or is that just
It's encumbered and set aside for this project, and if we don't spend it, we'll unencumber it and then.
Right,
we'll-
but I mean, it's not, but as far as right now, you don't anticipate, do you anticipate more, or you just have it there?
Don't anticipate any
Okay.
more at this point.
Right.
It doesn't doesn't mean that we won't run across something,
Right.
an unknown or something that was missed, but at this point, we're not planning on a significant amount more.
Well, I will say I'm very impressed that 2 days after school's out, you already got those things on site. Congratulations. Mr. Annie?
Do we get any more, will we get more COC reports? Is the COC in session?
The COC, we're actively recruiting members. We're trying to schedule some meetings with them. We have put together with the members that are available a draft report for the previous year. And I believe the draft report is on the COC website, but it has not been approved by the membership at this point.
Yeah, the last one that's on there is from January 2025.
Yeah, and we're working on, we've got behind the scenes a document that shows the details around trying to meet, when we met, and some of the delays in.
We don't have a COC.
Okay.
I mean,
We
if they're
do-
not meeting
we
and we
have
don't have
individuals.
members.
We do have,
Onto this topic here, I'd like to make a motion to approve item J11.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Holy.
Okay.
Any aye?
Kogan, aye.
Williams, Nathan, aye.
Castillo, aye.
McCoy, aye.
Peterson, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much, Brad. That takes us to information items. K1, local indicators included on the California dashboard. Back to Ms. Kittleson.
So as you know, every year we have to report on our progress on several areas on the dashboard that are called local performance indicators that we self-report. This is what the dashboard looks like. Of course, we have, suspension rate, chronic absenteeism, test scores, et cetera. And then we have items that we report on ourselves. And they're in 5 different areas: appropriately assigned teachers, access to curriculum and materials, and safe, clean, and functional school facilities, implementation of the standards, engagement of parents, school climate, and access to a broad course of study, for example, elective, CTE, dual enrollment. And the process of reflecting, presenting, and reporting to the state, that alone meets the standard. So when we say standard met, standard not met for 2 or more years, we're not talking about the scores we give ourselves, we're talking about meeting that, being compliant with those 3 aspects. Does that make sense? Of just presenting to you that we did indeed do some self-reflection. And to start off with, priority 1, access to quality instruction, textbooks, and facilities. This is, as of about a week ago, this is a snapshot of where we were with our credentialed teachers, fully credentialed, provisional credential, emergency credential, et cetera. And textbooks, 100% of our students had access, and facilities, only 1 was below the 90% threshold for good repair. So of course, implementing the state standards, we have a robust team of people, including Maggie Tatman and her team of TOSAs and coaches, that ensure that we are implementing the standards for English, English language development, math, science, history, CTE, etc. And as part of the process of this reflection, we send a survey to our site administrators, our assistant principals, our principals, and our district office administrators for their perspective on the degree to which we are or are not implementing. And you can see here, this is taken directly from our survey responses. These are the scores. Our average score was 3.4 in terms of the degree to which we provide professional learning in all the different subject areas. English language arts scored the highest, and history social science the lowest. And that makes sense insofar as, because history social science isn't one of the tested subjects like English, math, and science, it often gets less staff development. I'm not saying that's a good thing, it's just common. And this is the degree to which instructional materials are aligned to the standards, and our administrators that were surveyed, our respondents, basically we got a score of 3.9. And again, you can see from the bars that actually, I think it's transposed here. It says history, but it's really science that has the lowest, history that has the lowest score again. And this is about the degree to which we identify areas for improvement. For example, when administrators do instructional walkthroughs and fill out walkthrough forms where they're collecting data on instruction and the degree to which teachers are or are not doing X, Y, and Z, and also through the evaluation process, we identify areas where teachers, where instruction, where curriculum, all those things can improve. And we got a score of 3.7 compared to last year's 3.5. And again, English and ELD scored the highest. This is about identifying areas to improve among groups of teachers, among individual teachers, and of course providing support for those teachers. And we got a score of 3.7, juxtaposed to last year's 3.3. In terms of building relationships between staff and families, creating welcoming environments, honoring people, capitalizing on families' strengths, cultures, languages, and also engaging in two-way communication between families and educators. We have an average score of 3.7, last year 3.8. What I would be interested in finding out from people is, for example, when we reconvene at the beginning of next year and we have our PLCs for elementary school principals, secondary principals, et cetera, finding out more detailed information about why, what's behind those scores. So it's not just numbers. And then this is about the degree to which we support principals building their capacity to partner with families for shared academic success, basically a shared approach to academic success, and helping families participate meaningfully in things like parent conferences and homework help and family nights, and so that we can be true partners with the parents in education of our children. We got a score of 3.7, juxtaposed to last year's 3.6. And this is about decision-making, the degree to which we engage families in advisory groups like the SSC, LCAP PAC, ELAC, DLAC, et cetera, and the degree to which we listen to that feedback. And you can see that the highest scores were about building the capacity of principals. Now this is principals answering the survey, so they do feel that we've done a good job of building their capacity in seeking input from parents. And then this is school climate. And so this year, our LCAP student survey, I expanded it to 4th through 12th grade because the goal is to have as many students as possible answer the survey. We had about 1,661 students take the survey. And of those 1,661 students in grades 4 through 12, 84% feel connected to school, 89% feel physically safe, 80% report having at least one caring adult on campus, and 91% believe that schools are safe, welcoming, and inclusive. And I just want to address, I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating, that one of the challenges with these surveys is California Healthy Kids, for example, is some grades, some years. Local surveys, some grades, some years. I noticed last year, if the survey has a neutral, students in particular will default to the middle. So I purposely gave a 4-point forced choice Likert scale, never, rarely, sometimes, always, which forces you to go one way or the other. My recommendation for next year would be to do something similar, making sure that from year to year, you're using the same type of measuring tool, so you can really, truly gauge progress. And a 4-point Likert scale that forces your choice, never, rarely, sometimes, always, is a really good way to do that.
What's that scale called?
I'm sorry, Likert, Likert.
Okay.
It's one that is highly regarded scientifically because of its, especially the 4-point one.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a neutral.
Got it.
Quick question on the Healthy Kids survey. I didn't realize they didn't do them every year. Are we on an off year or an on year?
Well, we contract, so we're on an on year, but it's not every grade, and it's not every grade
okay.
every
So
year,
they-
and you have the option to not contract for every student. Erin, you want to?
Yeah, at a period of time, we were required to do it every other year. We had a partnership with a TUPE grant, Tobacco Use and Prevention. And through that, we actually were giving it every year. But what Dr. Kittle said is true. It's only in grades 5, 7, and 9.
Yeah.
And 11. Thank you, Ms. Busa.
And for all of, in my position here as data person, I've really focused a lot on trying to make sure that the tool, like, let's say for assessment, we would want to have the same tool as much as possible K-12, so that you're doing articulation among the grades, apples to apples comparisons as you move up the grades, instead of, different kinds of assessments at different grades. And the same goes for survey data, because even though it's qualitative and not quantitative, it's still, you want it to be scientifically meaningful. And so again, my recommendation moving forward would be to sort of pick a survey and stick with it for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Indeed. And this is priority 7, which is basically about setting the foundation for college and career readiness, and then making sure that you're expanding that throughout. So it's not just English, math, science, social science, et cetera, but also visual and performing arts, applied arts, CTE, dual enrollment, et cetera. I put on here a preliminary number of CTE pathway completers for this year as of last week. 255 completers, 19 of whom completed 2 pathways. And so 274 completions. And that's compared to last year's. I think we had 13 students that completed 2 pathways. And we had about 246 completers. So we're on the upswing. And this is just a reminder that we met the standard, and you will see on the dashboard when it's published late October, early November, that it will say standard met. But again, it's not because we gave ourselves 4 in all the areas, or 3.5, or what have you. It's because we met the standard of being compliant with reflecting, presenting, uploading, reporting to the state. Of course, it's up to us to thereafter take action and do whatever we can to make those numbers go up, and of course to make our achievement numbers go up. And this is for informational purposes.
Thank you very much. Discussion or comments? Lauren?
So with the final numbers and whatnot, what are we doing to raise up those, make them better?
Well, for each one of those categories, it would be a different solution, right? What I would recommend doing and what I usually do for every survey is having a comment field, so people can obviously share why, what's behind the numbers. But because we have, our secondary PLCs, our elementary PLCs, our ILTs, our DM, we have multiple times where we meet with administrators in small groups. and where we send out surveys. It's really finding out the why. For example, the reason why history and social science isn't as, we don't have a TOSA for history and social science. We don't have a coach for history and social science to the same degree we have English and math and science, probably in part because those are tested subjects and history isn't. And so that would be something we might want to address, right? Figuring out how we can support people in the social sciences. I think the fact that we now have the seal of civic engagement, that's a great step, right? In encouraging civil engagement. There are probably lots of things we can do, and it would require everyone to brainstorm a list of options, on what we can do to increase that number in particular.
So is there a brainstorm that happens? Because, I mean, I've been on the board for a while now, and I'm kind of tired of seeing us in the red and yellow.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, this particular item comes as an information item to the same board meeting as the adoption of the LCAP, which comes to the same board meeting as the adoption of the budget every single year. And I believe the reason for that is because several of these items overlap. So parent and family engagement is called out in our LCAP, so is our local climate survey. And so I believe that particular plan, we're tasked with bringing in educational partners, student voice, staff voice, our PAC committee, our DLAC, our ELACs, in the plan that just was approved to improve our outcome in these specific areas. And so several of those items, PK, that are in the LCAP that was just approved, are intended to increase these scores.
And I know it doesn't happen overnight. I'm just saying, how long is too long to see a shift in the colors?
Yeah, so definitely we don't want to have any of our performance indicators in the red or the orange. And we have seen progress in quite a few areas. We are seeing some great pockets of progress in our preliminary data. The 2023 red indicator that Dr. Kittleson referred to, that was a rule that was shared with us that had to be in a 3-year plan. And so those reds, even though they may not be red today, are still referenced in the plan because the state wanted to see that we were continuing a focus that year, that 2023 dashboard. Those will pull off of the plan next year and we'll write a new 3-year plan.
Right, and for example, suspension among students who are African American, that was one thing that we were in the red for that we have since we're not in the red for anymore, but we still have to address it because it was in the red in 2023.
Great. So my question is, if you look, sorry, did you?
No, go ahead. I'll go after you.
Number 2, the very first slide talks about the gas gauge, where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the following slides that you went through, we were always between a 3.5 and a 4.0. That would seem to me like you're better than half. So I don't understand why these aren't higher. And especially if you go to the surveys, we're all between 80 and 91%. So why aren't these on the positive side?
I think it's because we didn't use a 4-point Likert scale. We had a neutral.
And
whenever you're given, there's so
match to me.
I think that's my hunch as a
Yeah.
As a doctor.
Actually, if you could go back to that slide, it's the dashboard that he's referring to.
Yeah, the first one I'm trying, let me see.
So you're looking, it's different data. So you're looking at our math outcomes, our ELA outcomes. That's different data than the data she's reporting on that is asking us to reflect on whether or not our curriculum is aligned to the
So
standards.
this is a whole different, this is a different set of
Completely
things.
different. So in the chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, test scores, et cetera, there are standards that are quantitative, right? That you either meet or don't meet to go into those different categories. They're criteria. For standard met for the ones that I reported on tonight, just talking about them meets the standard. We don't have to fix them. We don't have to be good at them. We don't have to do anything about them. We just have to actually present to you that we reflected, if that makes any sense, to meet the
Zero
standard.
sense, but whatever.
Well, and I think it's because they know that if we were to just report our scores, everybody would self-report. I don't know that it would be meaningful, and maybe everybody would just give themselves a green. Do you know what I mean? Instead, they want us to do honest reflection and make sure, like Erin said, that we put those actions that we're doing to address our, post-reflection in the LCAP. But standard, you either get standard met or standard not met, or standard not met for 2
Yeah.
years just by not reporting it.
I guess it's the problem with dashboards is like you don't, like, this is the, and then nothing against you, I don't
Yeah,
want to shoot
yeah.
the messenger. This is the dumbest slide I've ever seen. Like, this tells me nothing other than
I know.
like,
Well, I find that the California dashboard in particular, because it has this dial, I
Yeah.
feel like as a data person, and I'm sure you maybe you would agree too, that you don't want to be talked down to or assume, or
Right.
you don't want someone to presume incapacity on your part and give it to you in a way that's too simplified,
right.
where it doesn't make sense. And in the California dashboard, you can click on, further details and additional reports, and then you do get more robust reporting that is actually
Yeah, I guess I'll
palpable.
play with that to see if I can go deep. I mean, like graduation rate, I think we're at 92%, and so that's middle of the road. I mean, I would think that's high,
Well,
but you know.
Well, and they give you the criteria. It's this table where it's not just about raw numbers, it's also about growth.
Yeah,
And so it's meeting multiple criteria at the same time or not. Even if you go down, if you go up fewer than 3 points, you're still in the yellow because you didn't go up 4 points.
got it.
So it's interesting, but I find that the additional reports, the further details and additional reports, infinitely more helpful.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, I think. Kenny?
Yeah, you guys pretty much covered what I was
Yeah.
going to ask.
Okay.
And
Thank
also, if you have any, I have another week and a half. If you have any data questions, I'm happy to assist.
Yeah, I'll probably dive into this when I have more time and patience. I think we
Okay.
did it. Any other questions on this one? Okay, thanks for the information item. Very much, appreciate it. That takes us to K2, which is board policy updates, first reading. I think it's going to be a tag team effort here. So.
All right, we have our second quarter board policy updates. Most of these are standard CSBA recommendations. Here's the slide regarding the legal compliance. A lot of times it's updated from laws that have passed or other changes. So starting with Board Policy 1240, volunteer assistance. This added information on mandated reporting for certain volunteers. That law has changed, and also that law, SB 848, widened the scope of who falls under the mandated reporter category, and our annual trainings are being updated to include those changes, and we'll update our volunteer policy as well. This one is not mine, or is mine? Oh. This policy is updated to expand the governing board's philosophical statement and reflect the new legal requirements under SB 827, which is ethics training for the superintendent every 2 years. Thank you, Becky, for helping me with that slide. For certificated personnel, Board Policy 4100. This was added language to indicate that employees require consistent and complete job description, and also that it matches the board policy. And it also sets an expectation that the board is expecting us employees to participate in professional growth and for us to provide professional growth. Remember, in our HR codes, there's usually 3 of them. One is classified, one certificated, one is management. That's why there's 4111, 4211, and 4311. This is for recruitment and selection, and it is also SB 848 language that does require applicants to disclose all past employment and requires us to verify with past employers that they don't have egregious misconduct. That is in place. We do have the proper forms. All the districts are doing it amongst each other. Board Policy 4112.9 and the corresponding are employee notifications. This is the same as the previous policy. It's updating SB 848 for disclosing past employment. More of the same. And for classified personnel, 4200, same thing, clarifies duties and responsibility. Expectations for the positions have to be communicated. And it's consistent with what you saw on 4100 earlier. And same with administrator and supervisory personnel. It clearly defined duties and updates the same as the other ones. We have to communicate those duties clearly.
Board Policy 5113, absences and excuses, provides clarifying language around, rather than just saying excused absences, to saying any absences. And we needed to clarify that rather than saying work could be completed within a reasonable amount of time, we said within 2 days for each absence unless arranged otherwise with the teacher. Board Policy 5121, grades, evaluation of student achievement. We essentially changed the language to match the prior one that I just read. Board Policy 5127 was updated to indicate that disciplinary considerations can be considered around denying the privilege to participate in graduation ceremonies and activities rather than saying shall not, that it may happen. Board Policy 5131.4 related to student disturbances is updated to expand material related to a school's disturbance management plan. And this piece really speaks to components such as student walkouts and ensuring that schools are prepared for those types of scenarios. Board Policy 5141.4, child abuse prevention and reporting, is updated to allow the superintendent or designee to collaborate with the county's child welfare, probation, mental health, public health, and sheriff's departments on intervention programs. And it also includes language from a new law, Senate Bill 848, authorizing instructional programs on child abuse offered by the district to include, in addition to instruction on sexual abuse and human trafficking, instruction on sexual assault. Board Policy, this is actually an extension of the same one, continued, is also updated to reflect the requirement that districts that issue student identification cards for students in grades 7-12 have also printed on them the following information with the addition of the new law AB 727, the Trevor Project's LGBTQ suicide hotline number or scan QR code. Board Policy 5141.7 was rescinded. This is specific to Sun Safety, but it was incorporated into the following Board Policy 5141.75. And this one also indicates or reflects CDE's Senate Bill 1248, extreme weather guidelines, and asks school districts to adopt that language into their board policy. Board Policy 5142 related to student safety encompasses the importance of student engagement and safe use of technology in a safe school plan. And it reflects new law, Senate Bill 848, mandating that districts adopt the following 2 bullet points related to safe environments on school campus. Board Policy 5145.2 is updated related to freedom of speech and expression. Some of the key pieces on this slide include the expansion of freedom of speech and expression, to official district and school websites or social media accounts. And in ours, it also includes the approval of staff or administration and alignment with district protocols. Board Policy 5145.6, parent guardian notifications, is updated in the following listed areas rather than reading the slide. And then in the red line, it also updates just to say that it would include notifications at the school and district level. Board Policy 5148 related to childcare and development includes new law, SB 568, requiring the superintendent or a designee to make epinephrine delivery systems available at our childcare programs. Additionally, it requires districts that operate a childcare and development program to provide families with the Attorney General's immigration webpage during enrollment so they can access model policies related to promoting safe early childhood education for all. Additionally, includes language around citizenship or immigration status and response to immigration enforcement as specified in law and in accordance to our board policy currently in place already on our comprehensive campuses. Board Policy 5148.3, preschool early childhood education, has very similar language to what I just explained related to responding to requests by immigration officials and ensuring appropriate posting of language.
Trustees, I have two that I'm updating this evening. So 7110, Facility Master Plan. So this is updated to clarify the board's commitment to long-range planning for a facility master plan. And then it also ensures compliance with SB 848, which was created to ensure that schools are designed a very specific way. And as you know, with our facility master plan, we will be getting a set of educational specifications. That'll be part of the presentation we bring to you, and that will align to that bill. Student wellness, this is updating our student wellness policy by expanding goals related to nutritional education, mental health, overall student wellness, and physical activity. And the policy language is updated to align closer to current federal and state regulations regarding those standards. Food marketing on campus, access to drinking water, and wellness policy compliance.
Good evening, trustees. For you tonight, I bring forward a couple of board bylaws. Board Bylaw 9200, Limits of Board Member Authority, was updated to add clarity around ensuring board members conduct themselves according to bylaws 9000 and 9005. It also requires trustees refer communications to the superintendent and board president while also outlining appropriate engagement with the community and while volunteering. Board Bylaw 9250 was updated to allow monthly board compensation according to Ed Code 35120, while clarifying that trustees are not required to accept compensation. Clarity was further added around board member compensation benefits by removing outdated language around former board members' provision on health benefits. Exhibit 9250 coincides with Board Bylaw 9250 and reflects the new law, AB 1390, which increases the maximum monthly compensation based on ADA. This item will return for action on June 23rd, 2026, and this was from informational purposes. And if you have any questions, please ask now or reach out to the person responsible for the policy.
Thank you, everyone, for the presentation. Any discussion or questions? Anyone?
These are going to come back in the consent?
Come back on consent agenda
That's correct.
in 2 weeks?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, oh, yeah,
Action
in
consent.
consent, yeah.
Yeah. You still formally take
Consent is
action on it.
action. So we vote on yes and no. I mean, it should say consent, but it's also action items, so.
Yes, it's a
You're both
formality.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Excellent, that takes us to L, superintendent comments. Oh, sorry, did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry. Wellness plan, I'm sorry, Jesse. Wellness plan, triennial assessment and updates. Wes, sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay, hello.
You're like, I stayed here for 3 hours for that.
I really like your glasses.
Thank you.
They're really
I'm
cute.
trying to wear them with the glares, and yeah, thank you. I like your glasses too. Fancy. Okay, I'm here to present an information item about our wellness plan, triennial assessment, and the updates. According to the USDA final rule, LEAs must conduct a comprehensive assessment of the local school wellness policy a minimum of once every 3 years, called the triennial assessment. The triennial assessment requires districts to assess compliance with its board-approved wellness policy, BP 5030, and make this assessment available to the public. The triennial assessment is comprised of 4 components: comparison to a model local school wellness policy, the extent of compliance for all schools with the district local school wellness policy, progress made in attaining the goals of the policy, and then the triennial assessment report to the public, which our last assessment was June 2023. The assessment is made up of the WellSat policy and the WellSat practice tools. The WellSat policy looks at what is written in the board policy, and the WellSat practice looks at what is happening in practice at the school site. It is measured how well the policy is being implemented and whether the actions described are truly carried out. So our wellness committee met 4 times this year: October 27th, February 25th, March 19th, April 22nd. And the proposed date for our first meeting of the school year is July 22nd at 12 p.m. at Culinary, in case anybody's interested. Okay, so some takeaways from the triennial assessment is, does the district have specific measurable nutrition education goals to support student wellness? Yes, we have goals. The wellness plan should be included as an addendum to Board Policy 5030, and that specifies them. Does the district have written adopted nutrition standards that regulate what may be served in classroom and school celebrations? No, it does not. So we should include the CDE competitive food and beverage regulations and update vague language that say shall encourage, or update the language to say shall encourage or encourage instead of may encourage, and include sold and served during the school day. And then, does the district have a written goal for nutrition education and physical education promotion? And yes, we have goals. We just need to be a little bit more specific and measurable and create an action plan. Okay. Indicators for measuring the implementation and effectiveness. So the student participation rates in all school meals and our snack programs. Currently, 53% of our students eat school breakfast and school lunch. And then the board and superintendent or designee shall establish indicators that will be used to measure and implement the effectiveness of the district activities related to student wellness. This is the link to the draft of the triennial assessment report. It's very lengthy. It does have our board policy and our current wellness plan. And then that is a link to our current wellness plan. The information shared this evening was for informational purposes. Please reach out to me if there's any additional questions, or you can ask them right now.
Thank you, Richard. Go ahead, Lori.
So, when you were talking about the school celebrations and whatnot, I mean, it's a childhood thing that the mom brings the cupcakes
100%.
when it's the kid's birthday, and like nobody wants a pencil or a sticker when it's their friend's birthday. They want a cupcake.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why.
Okay, so it is I'm learning that is a very controversial subject. And I do see both sides. I really try and stay in the middle because I have a kid in elementary school. And I don't want to say like, no, you can't participate in the ice cream party in classroom today. But I also don't want him to bring home a lot of fidget spinners that are just going to end up in our trash can. So I get it. So finding a happy medium, I think, is what our goal is for next year, is to how do we figure this out together? What is appropriate, what is not? Bringing Starbucks for your child during the day, is that appropriate? That is happening on some of our school campuses, or just having a pizza party in the middle of the day. And, that is the biggest thing because it screws up our lunch numbers. We don't anticipate those students not eating, and we plan our budget around that. So if half the school ends up getting a pizza party, for example, this hasn't happened, then we have wasted food. We don't get that reimbursement rate that we would normally get. And so, that's a loss of funds for that day. So it is a very complicated answer and situation, but I'm happy to meet in the middle with some of our committee members. We haven't had a lot of people participating in our wellness committee meetings, so I'd like to see more of that.
Is that the meeting that's on the 22nd of July?
Yes, and I will offer Zoom this time. I think that will be really helpful. In person is always best, but, and I usually bring snacks like fresh strawberries.
Do you send this out on Parent Square?
Yes, I do, and I have with all of those.
Okay. Yeah. I probably wasn't paying attention because I was doing other things, but
you were probably
I'm
inundated with them.
interested if you talk about cupcakes.
Yes. Yes, Leo.
Leo.
I know you said you're going to offer it on Zoom. Would you be able to also get a translator and offer it to the Spanish-speaking parents as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
right,
Thank you so much. Now we can go to L, superintendent comments.
Okay, well, we enjoyed a really wonderful end to our 25-26 school year last week. Celebrations were everywhere you turned. Award nights, scholarship events, the last day of school field days at all of our elementaries, and of course, our promotion and graduation ceremonies, just to name a few of the highlights. I wanted to say families experience a promotion or a graduation ceremony as like a single one point in time event, whether it's during the day or during the evening, but staff really experience it as months of preparation. And as I've attended these events across the district this spring, I've been reminded how many people contribute behind the scenes to create these really meaningful experiences for students and their families. We are just really grateful for all of the dedicated staff in the district who work so hard to make that magic happen, just to bring it to life. And now, this kid's been out of school for a minute, and tomorrow is the first day of summer school. Here we go, yay! Thank you.
Thank you. Board comments, any requests, Mr. Andy?
Obviously participated in a couple graduations or observed a couple of graduations. Had a good conversation yesterday with Tom Harrington about the War Memorial. And his comment was, yes, it is War Memorial Stadium, not World War II Memorial Stadium. So they are moving ahead with a pretty good plan. I provided him all the research that I did on the Korean War, killed in action, the Vietnam War killed in action. I think Miss Becky was looking at figuring out who was a Bearcat and who was not, which I told him I can't verify any of that. So that's going to have to be worked some other way, but they'll probably contact you about that. But they have a pretty good plan. They're talking about selling bricks that you can have somebody's name engraved on and have it put down around the flagpole area. But moving forward, I would recommend, I know we have a policy on naming for buildings, and I think maybe it should be amended because there's always going to be another war, unfortunately. And I think probably there need to be some criteria. Like, I think probably everybody would agree if you're going to be at War Memorial Stadium, you maybe should have been a Bearcat, graduated, I don't know. But I think something probably needs to be formal because right now it's just kind of, everybody raises their hand. So I don't know. I would think since we have a naming convention already for naming school buildings and stuff, maybe this is something that could be a paragraph added in there to make it a little cleaner. Another comment, I appreciated all the data on, I guess this is going into the request area, but I appreciate all the data on the asbestos that was put together. And I'm glad we've identified, where we have some shortfalls. But it's raised more concerns when I look at like the mold and the lead paint. Because when you look through the FIT reports, when you look at the state rules, it says that should be in there. But I can't find it in any of our FIT reports. And I know these are standardized forms that whoever we hire, in this case it was CSI, I know we hired them to do this, but I remembered when we were having the issues with the 36th Street campus, we had the FIT reports, but then Miyamoto came in and identified things that weren't on the FIT reports. So my concern is that we're not getting a clear picture, and I know we are being inspected and not the inspectors, but everything I've read on SARC and FIT reports say that there should be mention of mold and lead paint. So we're saying that there's mold and lead paint, but it's not in our reports. And so my concern is, are our FIT reports accurate? Or do we need to, maybe have a second set of inspections? Lastly, I know as we're moving into the summer, I would like to know what we're gonna do with the COC. And if we need to get that word out, then we probably need to do that ASAP. But also when we, Citizens Oversight Committee. I don't know if we started work on the cosmetology area. Could we get a tour of that sometime, like during the summer? Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like next week, but maybe just take a look at,
Yeah, I was
the
there
layout.
today and it's just been demoed. So it's an empty space and the ceiling's been taken out. I can show you a picture today too.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. And then lastly, I'm not here on the 23rd.
Okay.
That's by my own volition. I will be in Maryland. That's all I have.
Thank you. So just to clarify, as far as the FIT reports, so as far as action, is the staff, do you feel comfortable coming back with some sort of reconciliation between FIT reports and the clear picture of like lead paint and mold, or like at least maybe a better explanation? Or how do you, I just want to make sure that.
Yeah. My concern is that these reports
that together.
from years ago, when we looked at 36th Street, there was questions about whether those reports were accurate. And I know we're the customer in this case, but when we start saying that we have things that are supposed to be listed in there, like there's a whole category for hazardous materials in there. And from what I'm reading, if we have lead paint, it should be listed in there. If we have mold, it should be listed in there. And I can't find any. I went back and looked at really back to 2018 is the farthest back I could look. I did find that, Bauer Spec had lead, the old Bauer Spec building had lead paint, but even in the Georgia Brown, I would have expected to see lead paint or something in there. It's not on the FIT report.
So would a solution be to then, I know you're going to not be at the next meeting, but at the next meeting, you report back on why there's those discrepancies, Brad? And perhaps that August 4th or August 8th meeting, or whatever that meeting is?
Yeah, I'll look into that, but the FIT reports are visual inspections of our classrooms. So if there's nothing noted with mold, then I believe the safe assumption is that there's no mold that you can visibly see in the classrooms. Mold typically comes from water intrusion.
Right.
And so if there's something that's above the ceiling, we are looking at water intrusion and addressing that every time that there is an issue. So if we're not seeing mold in our classrooms, then that's highly likely why it's not on the FIT reports. When it comes to lead and lead-based paint and lead-containing paint, I think I have an idea of what we might be able to do. So let me just kind of formulate that action plan and I'll bring something back.
Yeah. Because there's lots, like in the last high school FIT report, there's lots of flaking paint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a concern if it's lead. And I would think that, I was kind of under the assumption that the FIT inspectors would have gone, oh, flaking paint. There should have been also, I found a baseline inspection that was done for lead paint back in the 90s. And I've got a Lozano Smith thing, but I forgot what it was called. But I don't know if we have any of those records.
Right. So you're going to come back with something, Brad, and then a plan of action. Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Jim.
Yeah, I wanted to say congratulations to the class of 2026. I thought that was a great graduation. I was bummed to miss the Liberty and Independence graduation. I had class, so I think that's probably a good reason. I had a unpopular opinion that I wanted to share, or as the kids may still call it, an L take. But I was looking at the folks, and some of us being those folks on the field for graduation, and it just occurred to me that like the real VIPs beyond the students are the parents. And I would love to throw out the concept of, all parents or guardians getting to sit on the field during graduation because, they're a big part of the reason that the kids are graduating. So that's my L take. The other one is that I think it's so awesome that those of us or, any employees get to get up and give their kids diplomas if they graduate. I would love to see that extended to volunteers. I've mentioned that before behind closed doors, and the response I got was, well, then we might have a rush of volunteers who just want to volunteer so they can give their kids a diploma. And to my point, and to my thought, I was like, well, don't threaten me with a good time, because we all know that volunteerism as we get to the high school just nosedives. And so I think that's something that we should extend to volunteers of the district as well. So those are my two L takes.
Thank you, Mr. Cogan. Nathan?
Yeah, just a big, big kudos to all staff across all our sites for another year, another huge accomplishment on so many levels. Jim brought up Liberty's graduation on Thursday, and I just want to take a moment to recognize one of our own. Loren blew me away with her voice and singing. I selfishly have asked her to sing the national anthem at the opening ceremonies of Junior Giants just because she did such an amazing job. So I'd be remiss not to take a moment to recognize that, because that was really amazing. That was really, really good. So just thank you to everybody for everything that you did this year. I mean, what an accomplishment. So we'll carry on. And obviously tomorrow starts summer school, like you said, and whether we're ready for it or not, here we go. So good luck with that break.
Thank you. Leo?
Graduation was great. I got to go to the life skills graduation as well, which was my first time going. It was honestly kind of emotional. It was really, really good, and they did a great job. And very proud of those kids. And a big shout out to all the staff that, like Superintendent Loftus mentioned, especially the high school graduation. That was a lot of logistical nightmares, I'm sure. So good job to them. I also got to visit and tour the culinary arts facility. Thanks to Jesse for that. That's a pretty impressive facility over there. And I'm still wowed by all the things that they push out from that space and in the expedient way that they do it. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Lauren?
Thank you, Nathan. And I too really enjoyed our graduations and promotions this year. This year was my first year going to the Lewis Flamson promotion. Well, it was Lewis Flamson's first promotion, but I never went to Lewis, or was it Flamson's promotion? So this was my first time being at the junior high promotion. And I just didn't really realize how many students we have over there. Like that was a big, big promotion. And shout out to the principal over there and his team. They did an amazing job. Purple is my favorite color, so I like that school a lot. And let's see, the kindergarten performance at Glen Speck, I had the opportunity to be at, and that was just the cutest little thing ever, watching them do their dances and sing and songs that they had been practicing for so long. So that was really nice. And I had the opportunity to attend and donate for the blood drive here in this boardroom for Liberty. So shout out to them. I hope that went well for them. And yeah, congratulations to the class of 2026. I wish you the best.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just echo those sentiments. It was a great week of graduations. I got to go to most of them. The one here in this room is great with independent skills kids. Always moving. And I just encourage us as a district to always learn from each graduation and make them a little better. I think that we tweak them every year, and I think that there's some improvements that can be made every year. If you look at the awards nights and scholarship nights, those continue to get better, but I think there's some of those we can make some tweaks on. And kudos to the tweaks that were made between Thursday and Friday on the metal detectors and the work you guys put into that, because it was not very smooth on one night and it got much smoother the next night. And that's good work of working together as a team and making adjustments. So I appreciate that. Lauren, your national anthem was beautiful. Your singing was really beautiful. And I really look forward to the summer and the work ahead. I know that hopefully the teachers can get a break. I know we have a lot of work to do here with our staff and our construction team and everything like that. So looking forward to the summer. That's all I got. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Annie?
Aye.
Hogan, aye.
Williams, aye.
Just you, aye.
Peterson, aye. Safe travels, and there we go.